In the last decade, the debate on public policy in Uganda has focused on how to reduce the number of people living in abject poverty and reverse the apparent stagnation in socio-economic indicators. However, this is not being helped by a huge and bloated government. Early this week, the caucus of the ruling party endorsed a proposal by President Museveni to increase the number of ministers to 76.
At a time when the government is creating hundreds or more districts, and a big national outcry about government expenditure, it's very, very, very disturbing that the president would even imagine increasing his ministers.
None of this has resulted in better delivery of service. It simply put a bigger weight on the taxpayers to pay a lot of people who are doing nothing in particular and who are simply sucking.
We have a parliament which is overweight. We have a cabinet which is now overweight. I mean, President Museveni should go on a family planning program to reduce the size of his government.
While the opposition sees this as a burden, the ruling NRM party sees it as a plus. A large cabinet is seen as improving political supervision and service delivery.
Some people may argue that this may increase the cost of public administration. But the fundamental position the president is addressing is improving and increasing the efficiency in government and supervision. To me, as a member of the Central Executive Committee and a member of Parliament, I see that the president would like to see a fast-tracked approach in transforming and developing this economy.
On top of the already created Ministry of Kampala, President Museveni intends to create a Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, a ministry in charge of oil, a Bunyoro ministry, and a Teso ministry. The civil society, like the opposition, say the creation of more ministries is a burden to the economy and may not lead to an effective government.
In a country like Uganda, where you have, where you can bear and meet the basic needs of the population, that you have over 10 million people living below the poverty line. That is not solved by appointing an additional minister. I think the Ministry for Ruero has been there either since 1987 or 1989. But every election, maybe with the exception of the last one, you have Ruero veterans coming to camp on the veranda of Parliament demanding for pay. So what does this minister do?
The 1995 Constitution mandates the appointment of 42 ministers. Estimates from a research done by Advocates Coalition for Development puts the consolidated monthly remuneration of a minister in the range of 10.6 million shillings. This means that every year, Ugandan taxpayers will spend approximately 3.6 billion shillings on the emoluments of the 30 extra ministers, which translate into an estimated expenditure of 18 billion shillings over a 5-year presidential term. But the same research shows that actual expenditure on ministers, presidential advisors and assistants and resident district commissioners cannot easily be ascertained.
These high costs will be met at the expense of our hospitals, our roads, our schools.
Any addition of a ministry in this country really is something that the taxpayer, that the men and women in this country who work, who struggle in very difficult circumstances, the youth who are unemployed and roaming on the streets of our urban centers, I don't think that they need an additional ministry to be able to get off the street. I think they need a different form of intervention.
A lean cabinet, well organized, where you are strict and rigorous and you're eliminating corruption, you've got timelines about delivery, you control the programs. That is what will deliver.
Reducing the size of cabinet by 30 ministers would save enough money to train 1,200 doctors over 5 years. 18 billion shillings is also enough to construct and fully furnish a 3-room science laboratory in 128 secondary schools across the country. Uganda is a medium-sized African country, but at 76 has the continent's second largest cabinet. Even more remarkable, it has the world's third largest cabinet after North Korea. The question is, to what end? Michael Baleke, NTV.